7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
All right, welcome everybody. Another episode of the Moto Aftermath Show here. Had a wild race.
Best racing of the year so far.
Yeah, it was actually really good. So we were in Lakewood, Colorado this week, and we were all over the board. There was people that you never would have thought would run up front. There was people that you thought would that were in the back. It was nuts. Yep. It was absolutely nuts.
And Pro Circuit's bike didn't blow up this week.
Nope, did not lose 3 out of 4 bikes this week. So that was good. Other than that, the track basically looked the same as last year. There wasn't a lot of changes to it.
It always breaks down well. Deep, long ruts, really square edge. They do a great job of working at the beginning of the day, and it kind of plays out. Now, yeah, it always packs up at the end of the second motos, but it was great racing all day long.
Yep. So don't forget, follow us on Facebook too. We drop new episodes on Facebook every Tuesday. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. We drop the new episodes there every Tuesday also. And on Facebook, we also do the live practice reports every week we have a race. So obviously next week there's no race, so we'll be off. But let's jump into talking about this one. Let's get to the 250s. So let's jump into 250s. I want to start talking about Aaron Plessinger first.
You mean how Nick Wade jumped out there with the flagger?
Holy crap. So if you didn't see it, second moto, blind corner hill jump thing.
Hip jump.
AP freaking wads it. There's 2 flaggers. They stayed on the side of the track. They're waving. No one can see the bike. AC lands on his bike first, almost wads it, somehow manages to save it. Some privateer comes over, lands on it, crashes. He's jawing at the flaggers. AP standing on the other side of the track jawing at the flaggers because he can't get to his bike. Finally, some random guy comes running over, grabs the flag out of the flagger's hand, and goes and stands in the middle of the track waving it. And all of a sudden, Grant Langston goes, I think that's Nick Way.
I think that's Nick Way.
Nick Way. Real American hero.
Good job, Nick. Good job.
Boy.
Way to do that flagger's job.
That a boy. Representing the deep wit.
Yeah. Deep wit.
Deep wit.
So, all right, anyways, on to these motos. Best motos of the year.
Yeah, best motos of the year. Like, the parity in both classes is phenomenal, and today was no exception with the 250s. I mean, you're looking at 5th overall is Osborne.
Is that, you want to start from?
Yeah, we're going from bottom up.
Okay. What'd you think?
Of his performance today?
Yeah.
He looked like shit all day. He didn't look comfortable all day. He went down in practice when I watched that. He was just all over the place. He did not look like the Zach that dominated Hangtown.
It's 9 points now, if anybody doesn't know. Yeah, I mean, I gotta mimic what you said. Man, I don't know if he's getting, if the typical Eldon Baker thing is getting to him. He's already fatiguing. You know, I'm not going to say it's Epstein-Barr virus because he's not really showing those signs, but he doesn't definitely look like the same, and it's only been 2 weeks since Hangtown, you know, and I'm not going to jump to conclusions, but he's not looking the same guy. I mean, he's not even on pace. Like in the first moto, you know, when he washed the front end and when he came down the hill into the sweeper, you know, looking at his lap times, when he got inside the top 10 and had a clear track, I mean, he was 3 seconds a lap slower than the leaders, and that's with a clear track, not, you know, when they're bunched up coming through. I don't know, man. I know he's still got the points lead, but if he has another weekend like this, he's not going to be the points leader after High Point.
But that's the way it's been all year with both classes, is you don't know who's going to finish where to where. I mean, you look at the 450s, 9th and 10th place was Webb went 14-4, and Barsha went, no.
Yeah, Webb went 14-4.
Yeah, Webb went 14-4 and Barsha went 12-6. Like,
but the only reason I say this is because we were just...
And that's the way it is in both classes.
We were just saying last week, though, even though only 2 rounds, Zacho and a class that had not been consistent through 4 motos...
Had been consistent.
Was the most... Now, 5th overall is good, don't get me wrong, but... I don't know, man. I don't know. And the bike looked like shit in practice. It was rebounding way too fast. But, and I'm not saying getting worried. It's 6 motos. He's still got the points lead.
There's no panic button yet.
But he hasn't had the speed for the last 4 motos. Like the first 2 motos, he was fastest guy clearing away. I mean, he won both motos by 10 seconds. But through the last 4 motos, he hasn't even been close.
Well, and the thing that concerns me is this is the second week in a row now we've heard, oh, well, I'm feeling under the weather. You know, I wasn't feeling great. And all this, I'm like, is this going to turn into all of a sudden, boom, he's had like, you know, you said you don't want to say Epstein-Barr, and I don't want to say it either.
No, it's too early to say
and
that.
I don't think that's probably what it is, but, you know,
It's something.
Is there a fatigue factor in there that all of a sudden it's going to pop up and it's going to be like, well, he can't even hardly ride?
And like I keep harping on it, and it's obvious, but it's only going to get worse.
Oh,
we're going
yeah.
to the East Coast, you know, when we're getting the heat and humidity, and I don't know, man. I'm not worried if I'm in the Osborne camp in Eldon. You know, he's got the speed still. He proved that at Hangtown. But, dude, he was nowhere near the top 5 speed. I mean, the only reason he got fifth that last moto is because Frenchie just burned himself out.
Yep.
So, nothing to worry about, not yet. But it's something to look for, because if it happens again at High Point, I am putting the panic button on. Because that'll be 6 motos in a row.
Yeah.
So, just, yeah, but...
Okay, moving up to 4th overall, Austin Faulkner. That, whew,
That first moto was gnarly.
The Faulkner train's coming, buddy. It took a while to get going. He had some bike problems the last couple weeks here, but
He looked good.
he was on mission both motos.
Yeah, and something about him and Jamar just coming together in these last couple motos and stuff. Second moto, he did fade. I think it was like, 16 seconds between him and third and stuff. So, you know, he might have gassed himself a little bit the first moto, but, man, he looks good. And, you know, it's almost becoming a thing where 10 minutes to go, he just pulls the trigger and he starts clicking off laps. And, I don't know, I mean... That's kind of all you can really say. He looks good.
Yeah, and he's doing the same thing he did last year, where he's building every moto, but he's building earlier.
Yep.
It started earlier. Yeah, the inconsistency continues. When we get down to Crawfordsville, we could have him right up there in the title hunt.
Here's my thing, though, and it's not that big of a deal. Now, granted, Glen Helen, you know, bike blew up, electrical and stuff, but it's two first motos in a row where he's been on a train at the end of the moto and then kind of stalled out. And then the second moto, he starts to fade a little bit towards the end of the moto. Now, obviously, you know, I don't know if that's just he pushes so hard in the first moto or whatever. But the second motos have been kind of a little bit underwhelming for him, other than Hangtown. So I don't know if that's going to be a consistent thing with him, but he's still in the top 5, so all that's really matters. I'm just looking at it as it's a little weird that he comes on strong at the first moto, and then the second moto, he just kind of settles in after about 22 minutes and stuff. But once again, with the inconsistency in this class, dude, if you're just in the top 5, you're going to be there. You're going to be there at the end of the year.
Yep, so that kid... Yeah, I have a feeling come August we're going to be talking about him.
Oh, yeah,
still,
for sure.
So.
If barring anything crazy, he's going to be in there. He just needs to be top 5 every moto.
Yep.
Which he proves he can.
Yep. So, 3rd overall on the day, Jeremy Martin.
I think that because of how crazy it was, I think 3rd overall, people will kind of say, well, oh, you know, he's not really good. Dude, he's been strong for the last 4 motos.
Yeah, he hasn't been impressing me. That's the thing. We all thought, okay, he's on a new team, he's refreshed, he's good to go. He took all this time off at the end of Supercross to prep, and yet he still had, last week, he looked really, really good all day. He won the first moto, second moto. Had he not, jumped out of that rut in that turn, he would have probably been pretty close to winning that one, if not winning it. But man, other than that, there's guys that get in front of him, and he can't match them.
Well, today,
he stayed with them today, but man, he just wasn't.
It's just track was gnarly though. It was really hard to push. It was real. I get what you're saying, but I don't know. I think today is just really gnarly, and it was one of those situations where, Joey was riding really good. The track was definitely not one line. You could make anything happen. That obviously happened in the 450 class, so it wasn't that. It's just those ruts were so deep with the way Jamar being small, compact, and having a tendency to dab his foot quite a bit. You get that lean angle and stuff, and the bike would want to lift. And I could see where, if he got, which he did get loose a couple times, he goes, hey, back it down a little bit. If Joey makes a mistake, I'll capitalize, and if not, I'll hold it in. But I get what you're saying. But honestly, after how his first moto went at Hangtown, he's right there in the points.
Again, we're only 6 motos in. I'm not pushing the panic button yet.
He's still my guy, to be honest with you.
I'm concerned with, for the amount of time he's been in the class, the amount of wins he's got in the class and everything, the fact that he's not dominating in a year where everyone is so inconsistent, it concerns me.
Here's the thing, though. After getting no points at the first moto of the year, 0, zilch. And he's 3rd in the points now.
Yeah, I know.
I get what you're saying.
I'm still concerned because it's just.
But we're going back to the East Coast. He's going to be going back home. He's going back to Minnesota. He's going to be in his, his safe haven. I don't know, man. I get what you're saying, but I'm still not concerned. He's 3rd in the points. It's like, what, 12 or 13 down? I can't remember exactly what it was. I'm not concerned. We're going back on the East Coast. High Point's a little iffy. He's good at Muddy Creek. He's obviously good at Redbud. You know he's going to kill at Millville. We're going to be on a stretch here where he's hit his tracks that he's done very well in the past that have won him championships because he's clicked off wins. I'm just not that concerned right now. Now, if he would have had a day like Osborne, I would be exactly on your thinking. But, dude, third in the points after getting no points the first moto of the year, I'm not that concerned yet.
All right, fair enough. All right, so move up the board. Big brother, Amart, you can start with him.
First moto, dude, he was killing it. I mean,
absolutely.
He was going. It looked, we were sitting there, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, he's got a 10-second gap by lap 5. Like, is he just going to settle in and just roll away with this? And then he started making a few little mistakes, bobbling, blowing ruts and stuff. They closed back up. But the moment that Faulkner and J Mart and all those guys closed back up, dude, he put in 2 good laps, and he sprinted back away and looked good. Second moto, not the best of starts. Took him a little bit to get into a groove. If he probably would have had a couple more laps, he maybe been able to get in third, but I don't really think so. I think Austin had a little bit too much of a gap on him. Dude, just second place in the points going into High Point, and this is where he was basically last year.
Yep.
I mean, once again, 6 motos, but are we looking at the same situation that he's going to pull last year? And now that we don't have a Cooper Webb in the class that can just clear in a way to be the favorite, are we...
Realistically, the top 5, I see us talking about all of them.
Yep.
Come Crawfordsville.
But we're looking at we're going to High Point that he got his first overall last year.
Yep.
And
so we could get the red plate potentially next week, or in 2 weeks. But I don't know. Who knows? Because like I said,
could you see it happening though?
Oh yeah.
Because we don't have a dominant guy right now in the 250 class like we thought. We don't. So I don't know.
Yeah, so, and then number 1 overall.
What do you got to say, buddy?
Well, the Savatgy syndrome, he must have taken some meds today and got rid of it because he didn't have any Savatgy syndrome problems today. He looked good. He did look good all day today, and he has those days.
And what would have happened to Glen Helen had the bike not blown up?
Hey, all I'm saying is when we get to Redbud, is he going to try to jump the ski jump all the way to the corner again?
Here's the thing, and I will stand by what I say, and I know I was joking around when I said it during the motos. Maybe just Joey doesn't have the red plate most of the year, and then just B's consistent, is in there for a championship, and goes out and kills it at Crawfordsville and wins both motos and gets the title.
I mean, he could.
Now, obviously, I'm joking around with that, but dude, you got to give him his props. He's been good for the last 4 motos.
I've seen wilder things.
He's doing good. He's doing good.
He is. But again, last year he did well up until Redbud, and so yeah. So once we get past Redbud, then we'll see.
But can you say that even though this is his first one of the year and he's not in the points, can you say that he has been one of the 3 best riders so far through the last 4 motos? Because he's looked better than Osborne, because Joey's speed has been there, where Osborne last weekend did it with consistency. Joey's speed's been better.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's looked better than Amart and J-Mart, but I would say right now Joey's been the 3rd best guy so far through the last 4 motos.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. So, any final thoughts on 250s here before we move on?
I consistently see wild and crazy shit happening for the rest of the year.
I do too.
I don't see
I said, the whole top 5 plus probably AC and maybe even Ferrandez. I see us talking about all of them all the way through Crawfordsville. Yep. I don't see any clearing away unless we go east and all of a sudden somebody just starts clicking them off. But
we might though.
We might, but I don't know. I don't see it. There's just too much talent. It's too deep.
I think by Crawfordsville, and now this is way too early to predict, but I say by Crawfordsville, we're talking about both the Martin brothers, Faulkner, Savatgy, and honestly, I don't think Osborne. I really don't. I think it's going to be those 4 at the end of the year. I think those will be the 4 guys. I wanted to say AC, and he looked good in the first moto, but I think it's going to come down to those 4. Now, who you want to pick between those 4, fucking throw it up in the air. Throw it up in the air, because I really have no idea. So,
okay.
I mean, they've looked the best through the last 4 motos.
Yeah.
But it's going to be crazy, folks. It's going to be wild.
Yes, it is. So, that's all our thoughts basically on the 250s there, so let's move on. Alright, moving on, 450s. Just as wild as the 250s. Unfucking believable.
Fucking nuts.
Unfucking believable.
Fucking nuts.
I don't even know where to start with this. What do you want to start with? Do you want
Let's
to start
go-
with the first moto, the second moto, the overall? I don't even know where to start.
Let's talk a little bit by each moto, then we can go to the top 5 overall. First moto. The fuck happened?
Well, those same pills that Savachi took for his Savachi syndrome, Justin Bogle also took before the moto. And just whole shot and gone. I don't know why. None of us can explain it. We don't know. We give up. Justin Bogle, everybody. That's all I got to say.
Woo! Good job, bud.
Good on you, bud. Because like I don't even know where to start. Like I don't know where that came from.
That's gonna keep his ride.
Yeah. Like he just earned himself a ride for next year, winning a moto.
Dude, he's out front just fucking waiting the peg, floating through the sweepers and shit, looking like Porcel, like not even
Just legs swagging the last lap.
No effort whatsoever. Like, dude, if somebody would have told me that Bogle would have done that at any point of the year, if somebody would have told me Bogle would have got third in the moto, I'd have said you're high.
If somebody would have told me that Bogle gets on a podium in a moto this year, I'd have been like,
what? Everybody's bikes blow up and just not show
you're
up.
Wrong. But he went out and dominated he had 10, 12 second lead at point.
Oh yeah, that was like an Anderson win last weekend.
I can't handle it. It's just too much for me. It was too much. And then as far as the rest of the first moto, you have Baggett, Grant, and Marv all go down in the first corner and are basically last and fight back. Baggett and Marv fight back to 4th and 5th, I think.
No, 3rd and 4th.
3rd and 4th.
Yep.
Okay. So.
And Eli looked like shit.
And Eli just looked like crap.
Bike was
looked
terrible.
Horrible. So and went down and he didn't look good all day. He was a lot like Osborne. Didn't look comfortable or good all freaking day. So. Whatever, it was just, Baggett was on a freight train that first moto, and I honestly thought he was going to the front. He didn't quite make it there. But
he was catching Ando in second, though.
But he looked good, so, and that was the wildness of the first moto. Then you move into the second moto.
Eli rips a holy.
Baggett gets in the lead. Eli passes him. Baggett comes back. Baggett had that line at the top of the hill, right by the camera. He would jump up the hill, land on the side of the hill on the outside line and just rail that off the drop off, and it was insanely fast. I mean, he literally probably gained 2/10 a lap in that corner alone.
He literally was hitting that line almost. Now obviously we didn't see it in the first moto when he was coming through, but I think he started hitting that line from lap 7 of the first moto all the way to the last lap of the second moto.
Like, yeah, he was...
Even when he didn't need to.
Yeah, it was fast. It was fast. And he surprised himself so much in that second moto, passing Eli and then gapping him.
Just looking around.
He was looking for him, and not looking for him like Marv, who's like scared. He was just looking like, what the hell is going on?
Like, dude, am I really going this fast right now?
Yeah, so it was insane. I mean, great on Baggett. He's finally doing what we thought he was going to do this year, which was... El Chupacabra was coming out.
Dude, it's hunting season.
And he's hunting right now.
He's
so
hunting.
I'll be really interested to see if he carries this momentum back east. But wow, what a race by! I mean, I don't have anything to say about it. It was just great to watch. He was fast all day.
Since we're starting with Baggett, do you just want to go backwards on the top 5?
Yeah, we will. Yeah, that's fine.
That's all we kind of have to say about Baggett. He was on a fucking another level this weekend.
It doesn't surprise us at all.
No.
We all thought, like, you had Marv and Eli were the top 2 dudes coming in with Dungey retiring. Okay, that's fine. And then you kind of had these other dudes that were all right there. Anderson, Baggett, Coop,
JG kind of a little bit.
At least for the first 3 rounds. So, and so we've basically been waiting for this from Baggett, and he looked good the second moto last week at Glen Helen, but wow, today both motos just unbelievable.
Deep ruts, man.
Yep. So he was first overall on the day. He went 1-3 for 3-1 for first overall on the day. So that was great. And then you had second place was Marv.
He looked good.
And Marv looked good all day. I mean, he rode a hell of a first moto coming from the back to get up into. Did he finish 3rd, 4th? No. Fourth. Yeah, to finish 4th. So
tractor suits him. His racecraft.
Yeah, and the second moto he again looked good. Had a little bit better start. I think he was like 10th or 13th off the line.
Got into the top 5 pretty quickly.
Yeah, and he made some pretty quick moves and then kind of just stalled out. So And then you get into his training partner there in third place overall on the day, Jason Anderson.
No altitude sickness this
No
weekend?
altitude sickness this weekend, so that was good. Now that he hasn't had altitude sickness, I will consider him a player
He's probably
for
on a
the
plane.
title.
He's probably on a plane right now.
Oh,
back
guaranteed.
home.
The plane was on and waiting when he was done.
He jumped in the plane with his boots still on, bro.
I was gonna say he was in the truck, boots on, full gear, like drive me to the airport. We gotta get the hell out of here.
Yep.
So, but he looked good all day. He was fast. He was fast in qualifying. He was fast in the first moto. He was fast in the second moto. Had a couple weird like off the track.
Yeah, got loose, blew. Yeah.
But that's just the way Ando rides. So that doesn't surprise me.
Can we say now that he's had 4 good motos in a row that maybe... Now, I know that they're not wins. He obviously won the second moto last weekend, but I'm talking about overalls. Now, it's only 4 motos in a very small sample size, but once again, I can't keep harping on this enough. Going back east, they get a week break, maybe work on some chassis things, a few different things here and there. Can we say now that maybe he's a little bit gotten over the consistency hump and he's actually kind of got his shit together? Because the starts were even good.
The sample size, in my opinion, is still too small for it. His starts were good, and he, like I say, looked good all day. And now the fact that he did make it through
Colorado,
Colorado, I'll say he's a title contender now because he actually made it through and finished moto. So, okay, cool, that's fine. Even if he would have finished 10th today, I would have given him title contender status at this point because he made it through that round. So, I don't know. I want to, like I said, I need to get through Redbud, and then I'll have a more accurate outlook on the rest of the series.
He's going to 2 tracks, though, that he did his best last year before he got hurt.
Muddy Creek and
High Point. I think High Point he got a 3rd last year, and Muddy Creek he got... I think he was running 2nd in the moto, and then he went down and ended up like 5th or something. But he's going 2 tracks that he really, really likes, so we'll see.
Yep.
We'll see. He's definitely inserted himself, though, as a podium guy consistently now.
Yep. So then 4th overall on the day, we kind of already talked about him a little bit. Justin Bogle
faded.
had that great first moto, second moto. He had another good start, but he just faded. It wasn't a surprise. That was typical Bogle of like, oh, great start, and then boom, goes backwards. So I think
4th?
7th?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he went 1-7 for 4th overall.
No, 1-9.
1-9. Oh, yeah,
1-9.
1-9 for 4th overall.
Yep.
I mean, hey.
He overexerted himself the first moto, and I think both of us probably had at least I did, had a feeling that was going to happen. But still, 4th overall, I mean, I didn't expect him to get in the top 5, not even a moto this year. So good on him. That was awesome.
Yep, so that was great. And then 5th overall on the day, the man, Eli Tomac. I mean...
Bike was shit.
The bike just looked awful. He didn't look comfortable all day. He didn't look... Me and him were even commenting the second moto when he was leading and Baggett was charging on him. Like, he didn't look comfortable pushing the pace. It didn't look like Tomac that can ride.
It just looked like
pace.
a matter of time before Baggett was going to zap him.
So it's not really a surprise. He got in and got out with decent points. Again, with the inconsistency in this class also, I'm not going to press panic button. I'm not going to write him off for the title yet because basically you have the gap's 17 now.
And then 19 for Baggett.
Yeah, so it's like 17 to 1st, but then everybody else from like 2nd through like 5th is all bunched up within like 10 points of each other. So, and basically with everything wild that's happening, we saw it today, obviously with Marv going down the first moto, you never know what's going to happen. Marv's bike could blow up in High Point, one of the motos, and he doesn't finish. And then all of a sudden, boom, everybody's within 15 points from 1st through 8th.
Yep.
So, it's a long summer. There's a lot of crazy, crazy shit that could happen. None of this is over yet.
No, it's too early, guys. It's way too early to start guesstimating what's going to happen.
And I did hear Mathis refer to Marv this week, though, as Dungey Light because his consistency has been the most consistent so far this summer, which I thought was kind of funny because it's like, how long will he live in the shadow of Dunge? Which I also heard a funny thing. He is renting Dungey's motorhome for the summer, which I'm like, is he renting it, or did Dungey have contractual obligations that he had to take the motorhome because it's got Target all over it? So he was like, Marv, you're going to all the rounds. Why don't you just stay in it? Like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that, but that was interesting. But Dungey Light, definitely, I like that nickname for him.
He probably doesn't, though.
I probably not, but I'm going to use that for a while about him. So, so that was basically any final thoughts on the 450 class before we start moving into next week here.
No, I mean if we're just gonna give our predictions. And,
let's go with our top 3 450 predictions for 2 weeks at High Point.
Go ahead. Oh, you want me to go first?
Yeah,
okay.
Ladies first.
Anyway, okay. Third, yeah, it was middle finger.
Okay, great.
2 weeks off. Guys are gonna go back. You know, they're going. A lot of guys are going back to their home base and stuff. A lot of guys are going back to Florida or Georgia or whatever, Oklahoma for that fact. Working on some bike things. High Point, notorious, kind of like Thunder Valley, concrete, constant on a camber. It's gonna be who has good throttle speed. It always comes down to, throttle control, I should say. Third, I'm probably gonna have to say, I think Marv. I think Marv's going to get third. He always does well there. You know, his starts are on point. Other than today, they're kind of off. Second, probably going to surprise you. I'm going to have to go Eli. I think Eli's getting, until they get that bike figured out, the chassis looked like it was rebounding way too fast, way too stiff. Couldn't get it to plant. And I know they're going to have 2 weeks off, but I think Eli looks a little unhappy right now. So I'll put him in second. And then first, I don't want to hear anybody say heat of the moment. Blake Baggett. I mean, dude, if he rides like that, if he seriously rides like that, it's going to be really hard for me to say that Eli can beat him consistently.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's almost going to be like a Kenny thing from last year. Because that Baggett, even at Eli at his best, looks like that Baggett would pace him any given day. Any given day. So I'm going to have to go Marv, Eli, and then Baggett. And I think the El Chupacabra, it's hunting season, boys, because he's going to keep it on a roll. Because you know he ain't going to get tired, and we're going to the East Coast where more tracks. You know, High Point, he likes it. Muddy Creek, so-so, but obviously we know how good he is at Redbud. Mm-hmm. You know, Southwick, he's okay. Milt. So we're going to tracks that Baggett likes. He's going to be back home in his environment. It's hunting season.
Yep. I am not going to argue with that at all. But I do have one wild card question for you here. Mm-hmm. If Yamaha gets the new 450 homologated,
for Coop,
they show up to Hangtown or to High Point with the 18 YZ 450, where does Coop finish?
At High Point, or just talking about from this?
At High Point, yep.
High Point, if they go there, he's not going to have a lot of testing time. It'll be so-so, but Muddy Creek, ooh, that's a tough.
I don't care about Muddy Creek. We're talking about High Point.
If depending on how good he feels on the bike,
well, it can't be much worse than he feels on the 17.
No, he was riding a 125 back in Carolina.
Yes.
I'd have to take Marv off and give him a third.
Okay.
Because Coop showed some fight today on a bike that just was not planting.
Yep. I put him in the top 5 overall if they get the 18. If he's still on the 17 in 2 weeks, then I don't know. He probably is shitty like he's been. But if they get the 18, because we all know he's rode the 18, we all know he's waiting for the 18 because he hates that 17 right now. For some reason, all of a sudden, the bike that they haven't changed in 3 or 4 years, whatever, it all of a sudden is shit to him. Yeah, I say if they get the 18, he's in the top 5 overall at High Point.
Who's your top 3, though? Or
the same as yours. Yeah, I got Marv, Eli, Baggett. You know, because I think Baggett rides this wave for a while here. I don't know that. I mean, unless Cowie goes back, finds something on the chassis that Eli really, really likes for going to the East Coast, and all of a sudden, boom, it clicks, and we start seeing the Eli of Hangtown or the Eli even of like 2015. If they can get that feeling back, then yeah, nobody will touch him. But if they can't, then
wait a minute.
I don't know. It's hard to see Baggett getting beat right now.
You don't think that even if Eli gets that bike dialed in, that the way Baggett rode today, he continues that way?
No, if they do, if they go back and find something for Eli, like if they go back and they test for the next.
You don't think Baggett can pace him?
Oh no, I think Baggett can pace him, but can he beat him? No.
You don't think so? Not with the way he rode today.
If they get that chassis dialed in, and we see the Eli of either the first moto in Hangtown when he was feeling comfy and good, or like I said, the Eli of 2015, nope.
See, that's where me and him differ, because I will still say that if that Eli wins out most of the time, but I say Baggett can pace him on any given weekend.
I don't see Baggett.
If he rides like that.
I don't see Baggett losing if all this falls into place and Eli's clicking again. I don't see Baggett losing to him by 20 seconds. I see him within 10, but I don't see him beating Eli.
At all? Like not even a moto? If they start together, you don't see him even beating a moto if Eli looks like he did 2 years ago? Because I don't know, man.
If they get a bike where Eli rides like he did in 15, no one will touch him.
I don't know, man. Today Baggett looked very impressive.
I will say he wins every moto by 30 seconds if they can get a bike that is anywhere within like 10% of what he had on that Honda in 15. He won fucking the second moto at Hangtown by a minute and a half.
I know what you're saying. But
He won by so much that when you got done with the second moto at Glen Helen, Ryan Dungey, one of the most mentally strong, toughest motocross racers ever, was defeated visually, and you could hear it in his voice. He was like, well, like he knew he didn't have anything for him. He knew if Eli stayed on that Honda all year and Colorado didn't happen, he was going to lose every single moto to Eli. Eli was going to go 24-0 that year, no problem. I mean, again, here we are, we're shoulda, coulda, woulda, but still. So if you can take that Kawasaki and replicate that 15 Honda where he is that comfortable on that bike, there is no way Baggett's touching him, even if they start together. Baggett may hang with him for 20 minutes or
well,
whatever.
you know he's not going to, but see, here's the thing, Baggett won't fade.
Well, Baggett won't fade, but...
So where's Eli going to get away from him if Baggett can pace him and won't fade?
Because what'll happen is Eli will pace himself because he's not the 2015 Eli. He's not that young kid anymore. He's smarter than that. So Eli will pace himself just staying in front of him. With 10 minutes to go, he'll do just like he's done before, drop the hammer, and all of a sudden, boom, if he drops 2-3 seconds a lap, like, there's no way Baggett's going to pick up that much speed when he's already going that fast. There's just no way. There's just no way. I don't see it. I don't
disagree with you. I still have Eli winning this championship, even if they don't get the bike of him as comfy. But here's my thing. Baggett looked confident like what it was on the 250 days. And I'm sorry, I just don't know, even if Eli's feeling like he did in 15, that if Baggett starts with him and he's pacing him to the 25-minute mark, Eli's just going to be able to sprint away. Yeah, maybe he'll gain a second here, but if Baggett felt that good, we all know what he did in the 250 days, and I know everybody's going to say, oh, well, that's 250 different, but Baggett doesn't fade. Baggett doesn't hit the wall, and he looking like he has sprint speed and they got that KTM down. I just don't know if I'm there yet. I just don't know if I could say that, oh, if Baggett rides like that Eli will just, straight up whoop him. Because Baggett today looked better than Ryan Dungey did for the first 5 motos all of 2015. That's why I don't put any stock in the 2015 thing. Baggett just looks like what he did on that Cowie. He's flowing, he's changed up his style, he's grown as an actually stature where he has a little bit more upper body control. I don't know, man. I still have Eli winning this championship, but I just don't think it's going to be that clear cut. I would almost go on to say that Eli and Baggett would split the motos for the rest of the year on moto wins. Baggett just looks so good right now after those 2 motos, and you know that he's going to carry it in because he's going back home.
Well, all we can do is sit and watch.
Oh, who's your 250 guy?
To win?
To win High Point.
Fernandez.
Okay. I'll pick
All right.
I'll pick Amar. But on one last note before we go, we got a ringer going into High Point for the 450 class. He's just coming over. He's coming from over from Australia. Last year's 450 champion in Australia. He is the points leader right now in the 450 class. Out of 8 of 10, he's won 8 out of 10 motos so far over there. The only reason he lost the 2 motos because he got dead last starts and they were mud motos, and that's Dean Ferris. Dean Ferris is coming over for High Point. He's supposed to have his bike and his technician there, or his guys. I don't know where he's going to be pitting out of. Probably the Rock River rig because Mike Duclos always seems to do that with guys. Dean Ferris has the potential, if his bike is good, to be top 5 at High Point. Because right now Dean Ferris is obliterating everybody. And now people say, oh, Australian Nationals. But he's even beating Brett Metcalf by 50 seconds, almost every moto over there. He's beating Todd Waters by 30, 35 seconds over there.
How are the tracks prepped in Australia comparative to
they're more like the state. I'm not going to go into detail, but they're more like the states than they are the GPs. They rip them really deep early in the morning. They water the piss out of them, let it soak in, and then they go out there and doze it up in between motos.
Well, that'll be interesting.
I'm not saying it's going to happen, folks, but if he goes over there and anybody knows who Dean Ferris' name, you know how fast he is at the MX of Nations, and you know how fast he was over when he rode the GPs in Europe. He has the speed to be top 5. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but that's a ringer, and he's one of those guys that if he gets a start, he might be feeling it. He can throw a monkey wrench into the points. He's fast. He's very good. So that's another thing. Oh, and Jordan Smith comes back at High Point. Oh, and we might get to see Chase Sexton finally, too.
Oh, well, hey, we just said a whole bunch of ringers.
Chase Sexton, Cam McAdoo's going to be back. He wasn't there today. Jordan Smith.
He wasn't. I didn't even think about that.
So we got a whole shitload of people coming back at High Point. So
Hangtown. It'll be wild!
It's going to be crazy!
So, anywho, thanks for watching, guys. This has been another episode of Moto Aftermath Show. Remember, smash that like button, comment, smash the subscribe button, share this with your friends, follow us on Facebook at Moto Aftermath Show, and live practice reports coming up on there. Plus, we always ask questions if we ever have pictures, if we ever make it to any of these races, which we're trying to.
Yeah, we got Red Bud in a couple.
We got Red Bud in 4 weeks. So, anywho, yeah, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks. We're off next week.
Okay.
Alright, so. Alright. Damn it, Billy, is that the
Alright, let's fucking be serious.
Alright.
That's going to the outtakes.
Let's go to the outtake show. Sure.